nature of these protests is that, yes, you're hearing guns go off, and you're seeing tear gas, and there's stampedes coming. But you also look up and there's Louis Vuitton and Victoria's Secret and huge ads. You think, I mean, am I in a war zone or am I in a shopping mall? And sometimes it's both. The Hong Kong protests have gone on for 5 months now, and as I spent weeks there talking to various members of the population, not just the protesters, I realized that this story is about Hong Kong's reckoning with its own identity and its relationship to the outside world, meaning China and the West. The protests began with an extradition bill in early June. The extradition bill would allow suspected criminals to be extradited to mainland China. It invited a lot of anger and suspicion because if people in Hong Kong can be taken across the border and tried in mainland China's very questionable, opaque, dubious court system, then what else will the party do next? The Hong Kong people feel like mainland China is encroaching upon the freedoms of this city that was guaranteed autonomy, and the mainland government was really reneging on its promise.
There was a symbolic lowering of the Hong Kong and British flags.
Hong Kong was a British colony for over 100 years. In 1997, it was finally given back to mainland China. The one country, two system policy stipulates that for 50 years after the handover, Hong Kong would still continue to enjoy a great degree of autonomy. There was genuine belief that in about 50 years, China, having reached economic stability and prosperity, would grow toward a Western liberal democracy. In the 20-odd years that we have left, it is exceedingly unlikely. If anything, it will be even more authoritarian regime. Beijing's need to fully possess Hong Kong has to do with two things: China's global image, and it's about its ability to hold on to the rest of its territory. Tibet and Xinjiang, regions that might be emboldened to break away, and Taiwan, which China still thinks of as a rogue state. In Hong Kong, this very cosmopolitan city, they rear children who grow up speaking 3 languages, English, Mandarin, Cantonese, who are exposed to people from every nation who come to do business. They have a great social welfare system, state-of-the-art hospital facilities, and most importantly, an education system that still allows them to question the world they live in much more so than in China.
This is not only a student movement, this is a movement for every citizen that lives in Hong Kong.
So Hong Kong identity for many is this immense sense of pride in their cosmopolitanism, their capaciousness of identity, in the sense that they can contain both being culturally Chinese person and a person who holds many liberal Western values. In the 60s, 70s, and 80s, many economic refugees from coastal villages in China who are fleeing from the political chaos and the dire poverty, they termed Hong Kong the city of light because they could see the glittering skyscrapers. Their one goal is survival and the ability to find a job. And you have their children, these young protesters, asking their parents, you swam here, you fought for a better place to live, and you fought for an opportunity to make life better for yourself. That's what we're doing. This young man in his mid-20s, he gave his name to me as No Name, and he talked a lot about his relationship with his father. His father has a tendency to be quite violent, so No Name grew up being beaten by an authoritarian figure that is not so different in his mind from what the Communist Party is like now. He said, when I was 9 or 10, it wasn't that I didn't want to fight against my father. I couldn't. I was too physically small and weak. So he feels this moral obligation to support the protest and, if need be, die for it. The protest has become one about police brutality and universal suffrage. And for the current chief executive, the very unpopular Carrie Lam, to step down. The violence is certainly escalating, but what's so difficult about these protests is that it acquires a momentum of its own. It's almost like an organism over which you've lost control. I found myself questioning what was really going on. I tried to make sense of the meaning of identity in today's world, this growth of nationalism within the city. Hong Kong is not, at this point, a nation, but because it feels so imperiled, so besieged by these outside forces, it wants to hold on to its sense of native Hong Kong identity closer than ever. Because Mandarin is the particular dialect that Beijing has tried very hard to popularize across China, it's perceived as a way in which Beijing is trying to erase local culture. As a reporter, I was wearing my green neon reporter vest, and I was accompanied by a retired school teacher, and we were speaking in a mishmash of Mandarin and English. Upon overhearing the Mandarin I was speaking, I was stopped, and I was asked if I was indeed a journalist from the West, then why did I speak Mandarin? Why did I look the way that I did? And I think that was unsettling for me, because in the US, I'm so used to everyone accepting a bifurcated identity of being Chinese American, and to really be the object of suspicion was alarming for me. I'm proud to be both Chinese and American, but what exactly does that mean? And who am I swearing my loyalty to when I say that? Or is there any kind of loyalty? We feel the need to perform our identities, both in the context of a protest on the streets, but also with the advent of social media, we need to broadcast to the world where we stand politically and socially. And our identity through performance is something that we constantly have to affirm and confirm. I think that's a break from the previous generation. Hong Kong makes me think about protests raging in other places in the world right now, in Chile, Beirut, and how they're all about mostly young people who feel the need to actively perform the way they feel.
Fight for freedom!
The sense that if they feel themselves to be something, it needs to be expressed on an open stage.